At a stadium awash with the Mexican wave. I haven't actually seen any of the Royals or Bob Hawke and Mrs. Hawke stand up yet, but the place has been awash with it for about the last half hour or so. And we prepare now for the official beginnings of this ceremony tonight. They're running a little behind time, which is one of the few occasions through these whole 2 weeks that the Kiwis have been behind time. We have shot there, Mrs. Hawke, but we welcome you for the last time to Mount Smart Stadium. 35,000 people here for tonight's closing ceremony. The weather, Norman May, is wonderful once again. They've been blessed. They've been kind to Auckland and the games, much kinder than the weather's been in Eastern Australia.
Surprising, Ray, that the rain here came in the middle of the games only. Fine weather for the opening, fine weather for the closing, cyclones on the other side of the Tasman. But isn't the atmosphere of the closer different to the opening? For the opening, it's excitement and a sense of anticipation. At the closer, this is a very happy occasion because the games have been so successful.
Yes, a lot of joy. The first one was an extravaganza across the opening. We have another spectacle for you tonight that's been promised. We contrasted this when we saw some footage the other day of the 1950 Commonwealth Games in Auckland, just black and white footage if you were with us through the week. And that was a quiet opening and a very quiet closing as well. But they've turned into spectacles, haven't they?
I'm delighted to see, Ray, these children coming on. This was the part of the closing ceremony which at one stage was not going to be put on. All of these children have been rehearsing for months and months and months. And they said, because we've got to tighten the program up, you're not going to be on television. But now they are because of the way things are working out. And I'm very pleased to see it.
Well, someone's looking after them. I think they've made children very much the theme of this closing ceremony tonight. This is the 60th anniversary of the Commonwealth Games, of course, this year. And children are seen by all of us as the future of the Commonwealth, and that's what they've tried to make the theme of this closing ceremony tonight. We have one of the great voices of the world for you tonight. We won't break the surprise, but 1 or 2 people have guessed who's going to be singing for you tonight. We've got a big orchestra and a big band and thousands of people in the stadium again. The Jets, a firework display, and of course the Queen.
Yes, we're waiting now for her arrival of Her Majesty the Queen and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. The biggest problem the Australians have faced over the last couple of days is selecting the athletes who will march in the closing ceremony. Now, all we can bring on is 1 flag bearer, the team general manager, and 3 athletes. And they say, what can you do when you won 52 gold medals? They've changed this 3 times, Ray. And we won't tell you who they are till they come on, but it's a very good selection. And I think there are a couple of others who may have been there, but how do you pick 4 out of 52?
Well, the rest of the athletes, of course, will be, they'll join in the stadium at one stage. Just as you were talking then, Norman, we had the triple jumper from Cyprus who just walked by in that in the purple and black. Now, that's, again, one of these great things of the Games is the fact that you get people like this bloke from Cyprus and the young weightlifter from Nauru. First goals for the countries ever.
I've actually learned how to say his name. Hadiandrea is his surname, and he got one of the best ovations I've ever heard at a Commonwealth Games, at a closing ceremony.
What was his first name?
No, don't ask me that. I'm gone.
But that's the nice thing of these games. I mean, these were against the best, certainly in the track and field, against some of the best competitors in the world. And countries like Nauru and Cyprus, Bangladesh in shooting, again, they won a gold medal. I talked to Philip Adams, the great Australian shooter, who has won 6 gold medals, 6 silver and 2 bronze in Commonwealth Games the other day. And he got a silver to the Bangladesh shooters on a countback. And he said to me, look, nothing could make me happier than to see Bangladesh getting a gold medal here and India getting a gold medal in one of the other shootbacks. So that's the nice attitude.
Well, while we move into position, that magnificent high shot, they'll be ready very soon to perform. We just have a quick list of those little countries who've come up with gold medals in these games. Cyprus, first ever in the triple jump. That's a first ever gold medal. Nauru in weightlifting. Papua New Guinea in bowls. Bangladesh in shooting. Bermuda in the high jump. The Channel Islands, Jersey and Guernsey, both in shooting. Now, I think we're going to see the performance, so we sit back and enjoy it, Ray?
Well, let's just tell them quickly about these marching girls you can see in the middle. Marching girls started as a way of keeping unemployed youth occupied during the Depression years in New Zealand. The boys had cricket and football, it was said, but there was less organised sport for the girls. So originally it was basic marching, but now it's pretty much a tradition in New Zealand. After the war, drill sergeants and army officers took over and the style became a little more military. Then in the 50s, a new generation took over. It became more colourful and theatrical, more feminine. Now it's very, very popular in New Zealand. Their team won the World Brass Band Marching Championships in 1981, and they have all ages for this, and they come from all parts of the country. What you're seeing now is let me just get the Uniflex Pioneers. They're from Christchurch with a black jacket and the blue skirt, and there's Bob Hawke taking a double eyeful there. Nice ladies too.
The Queen has been here at the track and field during the afternoon. She's retired at the moment. She makes a new entrance for the closing ceremony. There has been a gap of some 30, 40 minutes or so between the last athletic event and the start of this ceremony.
There was a report, Norman, that in fact the Queen wanted to enjoy even this part of the ceremony. She presented one of the medals to, I think, a Canadian girl in the track and field this afternoon, and there was a report that she wanted to stay around, but I think you're right that she has gone. There's a top shot of the Mount Smart Stadium, where all the track and field events and the opening ceremony have occurred here over the last 11 days. We're glad to be able to show you this twilight and the sunshine. It's been a very hot day today, about 26 or 27 degrees, I suspect. Four groups of marching band out there and marching girls from Wellington. One group, another group from Wellington, the Lochiel in the white jackets and the tartan skirts. Kensington from Wellington, the green jacket and the red skirt. I mentioned the women from Christchurch. And from Auckland, the Challenge Hussars, as they're called, the red jackets with the grey tartan skirt and sash. This telecast as well going to about 250 million people around the world. Very appreciative crowd here too. 35,000 people, as we mentioned to you. They've been here pretty much all day for a marvellous day in track and field today, Norman.
Yes, that 35,000 includes the athletes. All the athletes not marching are in the same area they occupied during the opening ceremony, which is away to our right, and they're all over there behind the fence in that area. We can see the blaze of colour of the different uniforms of the competing countries. I wonder if they're going to stay there all night, Ray.
Well, you've seen what, this is your 8th Commonwealth Games, I think you told us the other day, and it would be against tradition if they stay in those seats. I think they'll get out there. It's a matter now of waiting to see what frolics they get up to.
Yes, sometime or other during the night they will come over the fence and be part of this closing ceremony, but only 3 athletes and a flag bearer from each country will participate in the official part of the ceremony. Here's the public address.
Are a celebration of athletic achievement. Well, we can't all be champions, but we can all feel like champions if we take care of our health and general fitness. And that may be easier said than done. But right now, we're going to meet some young people who certainly make it look easy. Their display has been organised by the National Heart Foundation and the Association of Health, Physical Education and Recreation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to jump rope for heart.
Norman, as you mentioned, the original plans were that these children who've been practicing, rehearsing, I think, all from around the country for the last 6 months, we're going to miss out on this ceremony. But because the Queen has been a little delayed, they've got their moment of glory.
And this is marvellous. They're all skipping, and it's absolutely brilliant to see this overview, Ray. Look at this. It's tremendous.
Sonny Rumpfel there from the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. We have the Prime Minister, Mrs Hawke, here. We have the New Zealand Prime Minister and his wife, and a lot of other dignitaries. Promoted and run by the National Heart Foundation of New Zealand. And given the success of New Zealand athletes here over the last 10 days, I'd be keen to see these fit young bodies in the future Commonwealth Games. 150,000 school children in this program, Norman, right throughout the two islands of New Zealand, which is a sizable number for a population of 3.5 million, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is. What they call that nowadays, I go further than the array. They used to call it pepper, didn't they, when they go fast?
That's right. My grandfather told me about that, Norman. Jump rope for Hart, and they certainly did. There's the New Zealand Prime Minister, Geoffrey Palmer.
Very quickly into position for the next part of their routine. 6 months of practice has gone into this.
I think there were so many parents and teachers involved in this practice over the 6 months there, Norman, that the games organisers were... they thought they might get lynched if they didn't include the children finally.
On the scoreboard, jump rope for Hart.
Interesting, the children here, Norman, are between the ages of 5 and 16, and we had people like athletes like Haley Lewis and some of the gymnasts who were only 14 or 15 themselves winning gold medals here.
Yes, we went through that in the opening serum about the age of the athletes. I think we got down to 13 as the youngest, so gymnasts from New Zealand and also from England. 13 the youngest, and going up, I suppose, into the late 60s, yeah. Some of the bowlers and things like that.
Some of the unnamed women bowlers from Australia, I think, were in the late 60s.
Yes, it's the range which is important. See, bowling is only held in the Commonwealth Games, not in the Olympics. So you do get yachting in the Olympics, and you get this huge range of activity. There's very many people in the community, which is a great thing. Here they are. They're very, very happy, and why shouldn't they be? This has really been a wonderful game. I cannot remember a game like this. Certainly, from the success point of view, it's the best games I've ever attended.
That's interesting. 2,100 athletes, and you saw some of them then, I think some of the English team over there, but they will get together. They won't be in teams today.
The joining of the athletes from the various countries, and you'll see this later on, was introduced actually in the Melbourne Olympic Games in 1956 by a letter from a young kid who wrote to Avery Brundage, who was the president of the International Olympic Committee at the time, and suggested the idea is the Olympic spirit to bring people together. Why don't you march them all in? That's Prime Minister and Mrs. Hawke. And it's been taken on in every game since that time. So Melbourne was part of World Games history in that sense.
Well, we'll certainly go into it in a moment when the athletes come out, but for Mr. and Mrs. Hawke and all Australians, I mean, great pride in what's been achieved in these games. 162 medals all up, and all those competitors who went close and didn't get medals, but a marvellous performance by Australians in these particular games, and I think everyone has a right to feel proud of them. I think we're coming close to the time for the arrival of the royal party, so we might take a break there, Australia. We'll give you a break and we'll come back with the arrival of the Queen live in Auckland for the final session of these Commonwealth Games. Saturday night, here it is now at about 20 to 8, 20 after 20 to 8 New Zealand time, and a lovely twilight, a lovely evening it's going to be, no sign of rain. I'm sorry to say those who are suffering in Eastern Australia. But we await the arrival of the royal party. But time for us, Norman, to talk about the honour list of Australian gold medal winners in these Commonwealth Games. We mentioned 52 gold medal winners. Let's start off in track and field. Darren Clark. Some of these faces you'll see for us tonight, but we may not get a time later to honour them. Darren Clark, Andrew Lloyd, Lisa Marie Vizigneri, Jane Fleming, of course, got 2. Sean Carland, Simon Arkell, Kerry Saxby and Lisa Martin. 4 and plus the 4x100 women's relay, Norm.
And in swimming, Hayley Lewis 5, Lisa Curry and Andrew Belden 4 each, Karen Van Werdum 3, Nicole Livingston 2, 1 each to Glenn Houseman, Julie McDonald, Robert Bruce, Martin Roberts and Ian Brown. And Australia won 5 relays, a total of 21 gold medals in swimming, the best ever for any country.
The best ever 2 in bowls. What an outstanding performance by Rob Perella in the singles. The men's pairs, Ian Schuback and Trevor Morris, and the women's 4s, the best ever for Australia, 3 gold medals.
And in cycling, perhaps not as much as they anticipated, they still won 4. The power of Martin Binnicum and Gary Newon, Robert Burns, and a great win this morning in the road race to Kathy Watt.
Yes, they've received some criticism apparently back home for not doing as well as they should have done, but you can't do much better than 4 gold medals, and the general agreement that the New Zealand cyclists were absolutely world-class and had to be that way to beat them. But on top of that, shooting, again, the best ever. Philip Adams, quite an amazing man. This wheat farmer from Forbes in New South Wales. I think this is his 3rd Commonwealth Games, but he won 3 gold medals, adding to 3 from the past. Up to now, he's won 6 gold, 6 silver, and he's won... There we go. There's our bowler, Rod Perella. Philip Adams, I mentioned, has won 6 gold, 6 silver, and 2 bronze. Ben Sandstrom won 2 this time. John Maxwell won 1, and Colin Robertson won 1.
Now, the diving effort, I think, was the best ever with 3 gold medals. Jenny Donnett, Russ Butler and Craig Rogerson.
And gymnastics, first time in. Monique Allen and Brendan Dowrick both won gold medals.
And finally in weightlifting, Ron Laycock won 2, giving Australia a total of 52, which equals the best ever. That was set by England, first of all, in 1986. But in 1986, 33 countries dropped out.
Some of the Australians there just... in the crowd, the mixed crowd of athletes, they're not all together today. There's a shot there, though, of Martin Binnicum. 2,100 athletes altogether competed here.
It just takes a minute or 2 for all the children to vacate the arena, and they go around in a clockwise direction from us, and you see it's vacant there right in front of the Royal Enclosure, and they're going out the tunnel, which is over on the far side, away across, diagonal across from where we are. And of course, outside, the athletes would now be lined up, ready to come in, and we're standing by for what would be the royal arrival.
New Zealand Prime Minister Geoffrey Palmer.
His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, Her Majesty the Queen should be.
Prince Edward, of course, we saw him in the opening.
Peter Heatley there, the chairman of the British Commonwealth Games Association, or the Commonwealth Games Federation as it's called. He was a gold medalist in diving way back in the 50s, 54, 58, and won it twice. That's not a bad effort for a Scotsman, and he did that because diving is not a sport you expect to see in Scotland. And that's the Commonwealth Games Federation flag, of course, which will come down finally today as part of the closing ceremony, and it will reappear in 4 years' time in another part of the world, in Canada.
In fact, it's handed to the mayor, who happens to be a lady, the mayor of Auckland, who will then is entrusted with the responsibility of passing it on to the mayor of Victoria in British Columbia, which is where the next Commonwealth Games will be held.
Well, the children have almost left. There's only a handful, probably 30 or 40 still to go out. The arena is vacated, therefore, and that's looking across to the band area. Behind them, of course, a wonderful choir, and we should hear some magnificent music. Not only that, some magnificent singing later on.
We will indeed, from one of the great golden voices of music anywhere in the world is promised for us tonight.
Prince Edward, his first major international assignment, no doubt, as a host, and of course his father, who stood us for 35 years as the president of the Commonwealth Games Federation. Peter Heatley is, in fact, the chairman. Now, Prince Philip is handing over to his son, Prince Edward, and he'll take over in future as the chairman.
And to add to the spirit of the occasion, we'd like to show your pride in being a New Zealander by joining in with the singing. In your official kit, you'll find the words to all the songs. Do join in. Let's show the world that New Zealand is in fine voice.
The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh arrived in New Zealand about 3 days ago. They have been down in the South Island, we understand. There have been a couple of official functions. The Queen has been out to the village to see the athletes and talk to people out there, but it is customary, I understand, traditional, Norman, for the Queen only to appear on the last day
Yes, she arrives halfway through the games. I think there's a slight change of plans here. The Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen have been doing this for years and years and years, and I think they've decided, well, it's about time we got superannuated. Let's do it a little bit easier than we did. But Her Majesty made at least 3 presentations this afternoon after we got here, Ray. She made one before that. Well, it's a wonderful thing. But here's an idea of what the crowd can expect tonight. They're encouraged to give us a typical New Zealand roar, and don't they make a noise? Good day to win gold medals. The last day, you've got Her Majesty the Queen, you've got the Duke of Edinburgh, you've got Prince Edward. Between them, they've had about 6 or 7 presentations. Here we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the closing ceremony of the 14th Commonwealth Games.
The crowd standing now for His Majesty the Queen. And that's getting close to Australia's green, is it? Do you think, Ray? It's not too bad, the colour.
National Youth Choir with the New Zealand National Anthem, God Defend New Zealand. Let's take a break. We'll come back with the athletes' arrival next. Back live at Mount Smart Stadium for the closing ceremony of the 14th Commonwealth Games here in New Zealand, which have been an outstanding success and a credit to the New Zealanders. In a moment, we will see the march on, the representatives of the 55 nations who've competed here over the last 11 days.
And we can see there the clear blue sky, just the shadow coming across the sun setting. And very soon now, they're going to march in, and here they come. Now, in the closing ceremony, the teams march on behind the marching girls here, 3 abreast, a standard bearer, a team general manager, and just 3 representatives of each team. They're ushered on by this formation of what is described as junior midget marching girls.
That's right, the midget marching girls, 7-year-olds they are. Well, the juniors, the midgets are 7 to 12, the juniors are 12 to 16, the seniors 16 plus. But as we said, marching has a great tradition in New Zealand.
Just see now the first standards about to come in, the name tags behind. Let's count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 groups of marching girls, and then the arrival of the teams themselves. And it looks like they're coming in one at a time. That's going to spread this march out just a little bit. Or are they?
I think
they're 3 abreast.
Across.
Yes, 3 abreast.
So we'll get the flag bearer, we'll get the general manager of the team, and then 3 members of the team, and there'll be 3 countries across the track as they come down the straight.
So Scotland across to Australia, and under that flag you can see just the yellow colours there, or the gold colours of Australia behind there, and marching the flag bearer, there he is, Philip Adams, the rifle shooter, or pistol shooter he is. 14 gold medals over 3 games, the greatest number of medals ever won by an Australian, surpassing Ivan Lund. Sol Spitalik, the team general manager, is there, and you've just got a glimpse there of Hayley Lewis, 5 gold medals on the left-hand side. In the middle, Martin Binnicum, the cyclist, his 2nd gold medal in the time trial, and Jane Fleming, who did so well in the athletic events here, the heptathlon and the long jump. I think a good choice for the 4 of them. I imagine they'll follow the same procedure, Ray, as they did in the opening ceremony, by introducing the teams as they get to the top of the straight. And that's when there's Jane. Wonderful effort here.
Yes, how proud she is, and how proud we are of her. The Commonwealth Games record in the heptathlon, a Commonwealth Games record in the long jump.
This march is not nearly as long as the opening ceremony because of the number of people there for a start and the fact that there are 3 of them across the track. Now we can see Canada just there in the background, the Canadian team. Mike Smith is the flag bearer who won the decathlon. Of course, the athletes taking their view at the moment, sitting peacefully.
Time for the athletes to have a rest, eh?
Look at the tiny tot in the middle there, Ray. There she is, Hayley Lewis. 5 gold medals, equaled the greatest ever performance by any athlete from any country in any sport. First line, we have Jane just waving up into the crowd. The Australians are just moving past the whirling enclosure. The flags are dipped for Her Majesty the Queen. Then we have Bangladesh, Barbados, Bermuda, Botswana, British Virgin Islands, Brunei, and then back to Canada. Traditionally, they will come on in their uniforms or even in their tracksuits if necessary. They're nicely turned out, a wonderful blaze of colour, of course. And still the athletes come in.
Mike Smith, there he is, the decathlon gold medalist, and Commonwealth Games record as well for that. He's probably number 3 or 4 in the world rating at the moment.
I see the flag of Cyprus down there. That was a great occasion today when a man from that country wins a gold medal.
Lisa Curry, we've got a microphone on you today, and you're not marching, you're in a position where you can just be an observer like the rest of us.
No, that's right. We're down here. The rest of the team is up a little bit further, and we're just seeing the Australians go past now. They've chosen 4 athletes to go past. But I think later in the night what will happen is that all of the athletes you can see here by the side of the ring will join together as one, as we see in many Commonwealth Games and Olympic Games, and go onto the track and have a great time. So it's really going to be a nice night tonight.
What's that cap you've got on, Lisa?
Sorry?
What's the cap you've got on? You had.
Oh,
What is it?
It's actually just covering a bad hairstyle tonight.
Bit of disguise.
We've been here most of the afternoon. It's been very hot, so we've had hat and glasses on. You know, the flip flops, that do the right thing.
Is there any suggestion that there might be some planned frolics from the Australian team or the others tonight, Lisa?
Oh, I don't think so. I think everyone's going to have a good time. Back at the village, they're actually preparing in the dining room a live band, and the speakers that we've seen go from top to bottom. So it's going to be a pretty big night, and I think everyone's going to stay around the village. But I hope that we won't see too many antics going on.
No, I meant good antics. I mean, usually things are planned here for the entertainment, and I mean in the best of spirit for the end of the games.
That's right. Yeah, well, there's always lots happening, and I guess it's just up to the individuals to have a good time.
All right, well, thanks. Stay with us because we'll be interested in your observations. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with the Commonwealth Games closing ceremony in just a moment. The cameras didn't pick them out, so we couldn't actually refer to them for you, but Bangladesh, for example, has one of the, as we mentioned, the shooter who won Bangladesh's first gold medal ever in the games was the flag carrier for Bangladesh.
Northern Ireland had Wayne McCulloch, remember the boxing young man, and the sound technician got up and sang the Londonderry Air, one of the highlights of the games. Adrian Morehouse carried the flag for England, that wonderful swimmer, Powerhouse Morehouse, world record holder. Majesty the Queen and her son there on right, looking at this final parade of the 55 countries, which made this a record entry for the Commonwealth Games.
I notice we can see the Queen in the dais just from where we are fairly clearly, and I know she had a special smile there for the representatives of Northern Ireland when they went by. And as you mentioned, McCulloch was the boxer who won a gold medal for Northern Ireland. His Royal Highness Prince Sufri, of course, from Brunei Darussalam, was carrying the flag for them as they went by, but again, we have no control over the cameras. In this one, we couldn't pick them up for you. We just have to go with the host broadcaster through TV New Zealand.
Now the final group have wheeled and are coming onto the grass verge, onto the area in the middle of this arena. Finally we have Western Samoa, Zambia and Zimbabwe, and behind them of course New Zealand. And in a few seconds all teams will be in position from this march on in the closing ceremony of the 14th Commonwealth Games. Now, on completion of the march, we're just waiting now to see what's going to happen next. The athletes are still sitting there rather quietly, and if Lisa is right, they won't be going over the fence, but you never know.
Fanfare for the royal party as they return to their seats now. The Queen, as we mentioned, had been standing on that royal dais for the march past to the athletes. The Queen goes back to grab a seat and enjoy herself, as the other 35,000 people here tonight will do. There is a formal side to the ceremony, Norman. The flag has to be, the standard has to be lowered, and it has to be presented, as we say, to the Mayor of Auckland, who will make sure that it's passed on to the Mayor of Victoria and British Columbia as the standard. There are procedures, of course, and the Queen closes the ceremony tonight.
Yes, and it's very good that on the closing ceremony night, the flag, the wind is in a slightly separate direction. Previously it was blowing away to our left in the opening, now it's away to our right in the closing.
Sir David Beattie, President of the New Zealand Olympic and Commonwealth Games Association.
As President of the New Zealand Olympic and Commonwealth Games Association, I hand back to you the flag of your country, both in token of our friendship and goodwill towards you, and as a memento of the 14th Commonwealth Games in Auckland, 1990.
And now Sir Peter Heatley.
He's the chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation.
I ask that the Federation ceremonial flag be struck.
The Auckland Junior Pipe Band, they were formed especially for these games, aged between 15 and 20. They lead in, interesting, Norman, a contingent from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Yes, the Mounties.
2 of the Mounties on foot and 2 of them mounted. Sergeant Mike Robley and Corporal Jerry Mayo from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Mounties, of course, were formed back in the last century, back in 1873, as the Northwest Mounted Police to look after the gold rushes in the Klondike and all the mobs who were hordes who were heading up to Alaska for gold. They had very much Canada's national police, also provincial police in 8 of the provinces, including British Columbia, where the next games are going to be held. At one time, the Mounties also acted as Canada's Secret Service. They don't do that anymore. They're just the national policemen. The famous red uniform from Rosemarie is only used these days for ceremonial occasions. Normally they wear grey shirts and black pants and a black hat. But this is a ceremonial occasion.
They're coming round now to the left to us, at the top of the stand there. Now, just away to the left, what you see it grouped up, are the people who assist in the striking of the flag, and they're athletes from New Zealand from the first games to be held here in Auckland in 1950.
It's the flag party, isn't it?
Yes, they're all there. We can see the 8 of them.
Lots of symbolism in a ceremony like this, as there was there at the opening night, with the symbolism of the making of New Zealand, basically, and the culture of New Zealand. And the symbolism now, of course, is passing on the tradition from these games to the next games.
The representatives of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, together with the Auckland Regional Junior Pipe Band, are now escorting the flag
This is
party.
the opening ceremony, no doubt, from Auckland in 1950. The first games held here after the long break of 12 years caused by the Second World War. And strangely enough, Australia, most successful in those games. In my memory, their award-winning effort was about 36 gold medals. They've surpassed that this time. Ancient costumes. John Treloar of Australia winning the 100-yard sprint. And that was the British Empire Games, it was called in those days. Now it's the Commonwealth Games. And these are the athletes from Auckland, 1950. The pipe band is just going. There's Jean Hurring. She made a presentation. Her son was the first ever New Zealander to win a silver medal in the World Championships in swimming.
Harold Nelson won gold in the 6-mile race, as it was back in 1950.
New Zealanders were good in swimming. Australia not so good in swimming those days. 440 yards hurdles. Holland is a famous name in Australian swimming, but he was a hurdler. And what a great moment this would be for the old-timers from 40 years ago.
Kerry Ashby, silver in the rowing 8 in 1950.
Yes, we made that point, Ray. Surprisingly, rowing was not in these games.
And New Zealand's so good at rowing.
Oh, Yvette Williams, she's one of the greatest ever. Very, very famous now.
Gold in the long jump in 1950, gold in the long jump in Helsinki in 1952, gold in the long jump in shot and discus in 1954 she had. You're reminded of how many golds New Zealand have won in these games and Olympic Games, Norman.
4 men, 4 women. Done very, very well indeed. New Zealand, they'll be proud of them here. 17 gold medals in these games. Easily their best ever.
The Mounties are here, we should have said, to witness the flag coming down as it does now and witness it being handed over. Lady the Mounties.
By now the flag is slowly coming down the masthead. It's about halfway down. flag has been flying at the head of the mast since last Wednesday week, wasn't it? 11 days ago.
Hard to remember, Norman, isn't it?
Seems about 3 months ago, Ray, doesn't it? You know, it was a wonderful occasion to see it go up on the first time and then come down now finally. And, of course, its path will take 4 years to get there. Victoria, British Columbia. Canada doing better than any other country, in fact, as the host of the Commonwealth Games. That will be the 4th time. They've been held 3 times in Canada, 3 times here in New Zealand, 3 times in Australia. And
let me test that computer memory of yours, Nugget. What were the three times in the past in Canada?
In Canada, well, of course, it's easy. Vancouver, 1954. How about Edmonton, 1978? And the other one would be Hamilton, Ontario, the very first games 60 years ago in 1930.
Easy for you.
Very careful here not to let the flag touch the ground. They want to do all this, and they will wrap the flag up, in fact, fold it, and no part of that flag, if they do it correctly, will touch the ground at all.
Now, we've noticed, although there have been the friendly games and lots of informality, the New Zealand Army officers and Army men involved here have been very formal, haven't they?
Yes, and see how they hand this over, so that the 8 flag bearers will get themselves into position, and it will be carried back along the straightaway, and it hasn't touched the soil of New Zealand one little bit.
You're a stickler for protocol, Norman.
Well, if you're going to do something, Ray, they're going to do it the right way. And
Yes,
that's what I
indeed.
think they do.
They've certainly done it here. Have you figured out, so you stood up at least 21 times during the swimming competition, only won 21 gold medals, but
Yes,
you stood up for every other nation's
Yes, I
national anthem too.
sang 4 nations' gold medals in the swimming pool. I know the words of all of them now. Well, they made me an honorary New Zealander, so what's wrong with that? Good luck to them. They've done very, very well in these games, and it's great to see the old-timers come out, because we've seen a combination here of history, particularly with the Maoris, the past with past athletes, and also the youth, the little kids coming out and skipping and things like that, the tiny tots. And when you think of that and you think of the way these games have been carried out, there's a bit of future for the youth of our country, isn't there, Ray? When they can win 52 gold medals, they're not doing too bad. And it wasn't all youth either. Again, you see this, they will not let that touch the ground. They will do it in such a way, and they will fold it up, and they've actually, I imagine they've rehearsed this. Look how well they do it, 8 of them. Every fold is important. They'll make sure it's right. And here we go again.
They're probably as nervous here as they were when they're on the blocks with their gold medals back in 1950.
Sort of thing that never happens in my place, Ray. I'm an old bachelor living in Potts Point.
You don't fold your sheets like that, do you?
Not too well. No, they've done that well. Now, they would have rehearsed that with a replica of the flag. And it comes down finally to just a small little bundle, and they're very, very pleased about that. They've done it correctly.
It's going to be a sigh of relief there, isn't it?
Oh, yes, and there it is. That's the flag to be handed over.
Presented now to the Commonwealth Games Federation Chairman Peter Heatley, who gives it to, there you go,
Yes, well done.
New Zealand's gold medal gymnast, 14-year-old Nicola
That's the 13-year-old we were talking about, we
the
believe
flag
to be
for
the
the
youngest
chairman of the
competitor in the game. She made a challenge by a British gymnast, but let's say that she is. Nikki Jenkins, gold medal, 1990. She's not very old at all.
beautiful young
Wonderful.
lady. Beautiful young lady.
At the Empire and Commonwealth
She hands it across, as we say, to Peter Heatley, who's the Commonwealth Games Federation Chairman, and he'll then give it to the Mayor of Auckland, Dame Kath Tizard.
I noticed he was announced, Ray, as Sir Peter Heatley. That must have been knighted. I think that's happened just a moment ago when the public address announced it.
Could have been what delayed the Queen. There's Dame Kath Tizard.
As chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation, I entrust this flag to your care and ask that in due time that you or your successor in office will deliver it to the chief citizen of Victoria in Canada, who will host the 15th Commonwealth Games.
This duty, Mr. Chairman, I willingly undertake to fulfill.
Time now for the Canadian National Anthem. National Youth Choir with O Canada. We'll take a break and bring you back for the cultural display in these closing games in one moment. Back live in Auckland for the closing ceremony of these Commonwealth Games. We talked of symbolism earlier. Well, this is true symbolism. We have entered the stadium now some representatives of the Indigenous peoples of British Columbia, BC, Vancouver Island, in fact, Canadian Indians, who are escorting a totem pole, 12-metre high and 60 tonne it weighs. It was carved especially as a gift to the people of Auckland. The West Coast Salish tribe and the New Chowlith tribe from the west coast of Vancouver Island. They used to hunt whales from canoes 36 feet long, about as long as this totem pole, about as long as some of the Maori war canoes. They're renowned as friendly people. The British traders named their villages the Friendly Love. Their masks and headpieces are made of carved silver. And they're to be welcomed by a party of about 50 Maori. This time no challenge, just a pofiri, a welcome ceremony, that's all. No challenge tonight. Tonight's the friendliest of nights.
In the meantime, all the athletes are leaving the arena. They're marching off now, and they'll take up their positions. No doubt the flag bearers will leave, and the athletes themselves will go into the area, which is away to our right, where they're all sitting there.
Let me just tell viewers that the National Line News, of course, is delayed for this ceremony tonight. It will follow immediately after the ceremony on the east coast of Australia, but we'll stay with this until its conclusion. You saw the satellite mention there. There's a similar ceremony this morning Canadian time with the raising of another totem pole on Vancouver Island. This one here, after tonight's ceremony, will in fact be left standing on the foreshore of Auckland Harbour.
The man and the woman on the pole represent the beginning of time and the intelligence of humanity. The wolf figure represents the highest authority of the New Chowlith tribes. As the pole is raised here in our stadium, a Salish pole will be raised on the lawn of the legislative buildings in Victoria, Canada. The symbolic raising of these poles hopes to encourage an understanding of the Indigenous peoples and strengthen the bonds between all people of our Commonwealth countries.
And of course, the raising of that pole is not going to be a very easy task at all. I'm very interested to see how they're going to do this. I wouldn't like it to fall on my foot, right?
60 tonne, Norman, that's how much it weighs, and about 12 metres high. It's a sign of the times we live in, I think, Norman, that there should have been so much emphasis on the Maori culture in the opening ceremony here, and so much emphasis now on both the Canadian Indigenous people's culture and the Maori again. I don't think back in 1950 here this would have had anything like the recognition that it gets today.
But it's a good thing, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
Here he comes.
We mentioned it was carved especially for this occasion by the tribes in Vancouver Island, on Vancouver Island, just off British Columbia. This particular one, as I mentioned earlier, was raised in Vancouver early today. Of course, it's halfway around the other side of the world, so this was sent in by satellite for the occasion tonight. But we're back live at Mount Smart Stadium, of course, now with those pictures. They're not on satellite and satellite to Australia, but they're right in front of us now as they raise this 60-ton totem pole. These, we are told, are traditional Indian songs, a paddle song, a prayer song of thanks. And songs to ceremonially open the eyes of the figure. Be a fierce sight to see after a long night, Norman.
Looks a bit like Terry Alderman when he opens the bowling, doesn't it? Actually, I felt that way this morning when I looked in the mirror. Quite amazing, though, when you see how they did that. They just sort of rocked it over slowly and just been lowered gently down to the ground.
So the Maoris in a welcome to their friends from across the Pacific Ocean. We'll take a break right now, and we'll come back after the break. The Queen's obviously interested. We'll come back after this break. Ceremonial welcome and escort as they leave the totem pole, Norman, to stand up there. That defies gravity.
Yes, it's quite remarkable how clear that picture is on television. We're looking here from across the grandstand. It's quite dim, isn't it? We can barely make out the Maoris behind them because the floodlights have yet to take over. It's sort of the dusk period of the day. And that is a very vivid picture on television. It's not as good as what we're looking at with the naked eye is not nearly as good as that. And of course, the Majesty of the Queen looking across from an area from the other side of the arena. You'll see that. But it is an advantage these days to have a television monitor. And a bit of activity in the athletic area, just a few roars there, and no jumping of the fence yet, but here are the next part of the entertainment coming on.
Yes, the future of the Commonwealth. We mentioned before this is the 60th anniversary of these games, and children are the future of the Commonwealth, as they are the future of Australia. And there are Maori children now to do a welcoming hooker. About 40 Maori children joined by 120 local children.
We've just had a quick estimate of the time. They're running about half an hour late, I'd say, that probably this ceremony will finish round about 9 o'clock local time.
Eastern Australian time, but we'll stay with it, and it's great entertainment, as we say. We have some wonderful music for you tonight, and we can promise you one of the finest voices in the world. Interesting, Norman, that this is being done, this ceremony or cultural display is being done in conjunction with the UNESCO. He's a fierce little bloke, isn't he? Now this is a hooker, this is a welcome. Certainly impressed the athletes. not a professional dance troupe. These are 120 untrained children, we are told, who are simply coached for this. I think the athletes are going to join in soon, Norman.
Yes, there's a bit of agitation in the ranks over there.
The rhythm seems right. Like Australians to me. Greg Hayman in front there, our weightlifter. I think 1 gold and a couple of silvers, Norman.
Yes, from the city of Newcastle.
The lighting conditions are perfect now, Norman. It's 8:30 at night, and they've put the stadium lights on, but it's beautiful light here tonight. Yes, indeed, you're watching the closing ceremony of these 14th Commonwealth Games, coming to you live on the 9 Network from Auckland in New Zealand. The idea, as we mentioned, with this has been to celebrate youth, to celebrate children, the focus of the Commonwealth's future in this 60th anniversary of the Games. I think we've got Max Walker and Mark Warren down at ground level.
Yeah, that's right, Ray, and you can feel the tempo down here starting to build. I get the feeling that any moment now they're going to jump over the fence and the place is going to be awash with athletes.
Yeah, the athletes just about ready to break ranks here. I think they've been putting in a couple of hard weeks' work here with the Games, and they're just ready to get out there and party.
Yeah, in fact, that noise, and we've heard so much of it, the drums and that, it's a bit like an athlete's heartbeat. You can feel the tempo build up just before the event, and then away they go. But it's amazing what you can pick up down here. Just a quick snippet though, Ray. Richard Hadley has taken 3 wickets. He's now on 399 in the second day of the test match down at Lancaster Park against India.
All right, let's go back then live to the sound of the music here. New Zealand children joined by children from 132 children from 22 Commonwealth countries now. These children are part of the World Vision Child Survival Program. They've been brought here by World Vision, by the organisers of the Games. The program is being run to coincide with the Games. They've raised money for universal immunisation, in this case immunisation in the countries of the Commonwealth against the 6 major child-killing diseases. Everywhere there's a World Vision office, including Australia, Canada and the UK, Ghana and Kenya and Zimbabwe, most of Africa, most of Asia. There are children here in national costume.
And from Africa we have Ghana, Kenya, Lesotho, Malawi, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, Zimbabwe. From Asia and the Pacific, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Hong Kong, Singapore, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tonga, Vanuatu, and Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. And this, in fact, represents the Commonwealth, and here they come.
Here come the athletes. This wasn't in the program, we have to tell you, but we were warned that anything could happen here tonight by Television New Zealand. Simply saying, when the athletes feel like coming, that's when they'll come. So the athletes join the kids. The lady singing that, her name is Betty Ann Monga, who's the lead singer of a group in New Zealand called Ardejar, who've just had a platinum album. The backing group, Cairo, if you recognise some faces. They've backed Roy Orbison and Marcia Hines, Commodores, Kim Hart. Seems like the moment, Norman. This is the moment. These songs were written for the games. We've had this all through the games, this particular one.
I hope that temporary stage holds up. There must be almost 1,000 people on it now.
There you go. You said every age. There's no keeping them back either. Almost all the athletes are out there now, Norman. They've left the seats and the stands, and they're out there for this moment.
Yeah, the Australians there with them too. Yes, I suppose now there'll be more than 2,000 people in the middle of the arena, and they're starting to circle, go around the track with waving their flags. The band goes on.
Hats and frisbees over there, the royal stand as well. That'll be interesting. Just a couple of Secret Servicemen there with talking into their wrist and listening to their special earphones. And they've invited the volunteers. There are about 6,000 volunteers who've been here from Go to Woe. Unpaid volunteers, of course, to help run these games. Frisbees flipping through the sky as they were at the swimming the other day. Some good arms here, Norman. Obviously the javelin throwing.
I was hit with one the other day. Didn't see it coming, but look at the scene here.
Olympics for Melbourne, that's interesting. We just had that there, of course. There has been the delegation, this push to get the Olympic Games after Barcelona and Melbourne. We just told Lisa Curry, of course, is out there somewhere. Lisa, can you hear me?
It must be deafening down there, right?
It is deafening, but I think Lisa's saying something, but she's out there in the middle with one of our microphones on. Can you hear me, Lisa? We can see you now. We can't really hear you, but we get an idea of the cacophony that it must be out there. All right. We'll just let Lisa there and let her enjoy herself, but there's obviously too much noise out there. You get the impression. You get the picture.
That's where my flag went, right?
Tani Ruckle, who finished second, of course, in the women's marathon, who was, I think she's the favourite of our studio crew. When all the people who came in, they were most taken with Tani Ruckle. What a lovely lady she is. Born in Canada, but very much an Aussie these days, and the proudest moment of her life, she told us, when she won the silver medal for Australia, behind the great Lisa Martin.
See April Adams there, silver medalist, I think she was, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. 16 years old she is, and a great future she has. Diving, as we mentioned, was I think the best games ever for Australian driving. 3 gold medals.
Yes, 3 gold medals to Australia. Very good effort.
We'd like to mention some of these others, of course, who are on the screen. From Bangladesh, I don't think he is a shooter, but as we mentioned, they got their first gold medal ever in shooting, beating the Australians on a countback. This is the moment, it is indeed. Well, let's take a break now. We'll come back. They'll try and restore a little order here, and we'll go on with tonight's program. We'll come back in just a moment. The closing moments of the 14th Commonwealth Games. The Queen has been enjoying herself mightily here at Mount Smart Stadium tonight.
Chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation.
Mr. Peter Heatley, the chairman of the Commonwealth Games Federation, will invite the Queen to formally close the games now. That's if they can sort of clear the main paths and main tracks of this Mount Smart Stadium.
Rob Woodhouse, the Australian swimmer.
You beauty, he said. You beauty. It was you beauty for Rob Woodhouse and the other swimmers too.
Your Majesty, I invite you to close the 14th Commonwealth Games.
In the name of the Commonwealth Games Federation, I proclaim the 14th Commonwealth Games, Auckland, 1990, closed. And in accordance with tradition, I call upon the sportsmen and sportswomen of the Commonwealth to assemble in 4 years' time in Canada, there to celebrate the 15th Commonwealth Games. May they display cheerfulness and concord, so that the spirit of our family of nations may be carried on with ever greater eagerness, courage and honor for the good of humanity and the peace of the world.
What a marvellous picture it is, Norman, down there. I think the Queen was actually taken aback herself when she stood up to speak there, and there was all this happening in front of her.
Yes, but they did keep quiet.
Oh, yes.
It was quite good, because as soon as Her Majesty walked up to speak, there was a real degree of quietness there, and the athletes are very, very good-natured. There's no problem with misbehaviour.
No, they're wonderful. Oh, wonderful. We have a Royal New Zealand Air Force fly past. The Kiwi Reds adieu. We have a pyrotechnics display that'll be familiar to Australians. Fireworks by Sid Howard and the Australian Pyrotechnics Company from Kempsey in New South Wales, who did all the pyrotechnics. Okay, here come the New Zealand jets. They used to be Australian in the Fleet Air Arm, and they're now Kiwi jets. This picture is live, and what a marvellous picture it is. Not the All Blacks, but the Kiwi Reds, they're called. Skyhawk Jets.
assume, Ray, that was the sound barrier they went through.
That was called a bomb-bust display. That's what it is, a bomb-bust display. I think your pacemaker got a bit of a turn then, didn't it?
Yes, I was a bit troubled by that. I almost wore one of those bungee jumpers in the first night, and that was a bit too much for me. I'm getting a bit old, Ray. I can't stand all this excitement.
Well, you're doing fine, Norma, just fine.
To say farewell to the head of the Commonwealth and their Royal Highnesses. Please welcome Dame Kiri Te Kanawa.
Dame Kiri Te Kanawa. 140,000 people in Auckland turned out for her concert here the other night. This was the big surprise of the night.
Well, not really a surprise.
Well, what a gorgeous lady this one is. To watch Wow. What do you say about that, Norman May? It's quite extraordinary. Quite extraordinary. I guess of the several thousand guests we've had on the midday show, no one has been better than Dame Kiri Te Kanawa, and no one could have been better tonight.
Well, that lives up to the best I've seen, and no doubt Mr. and Mrs. Hawke enjoyed it thoroughly. The royal party is on the open car at the moment, going around the track.
It must be a nightmare for the Secret Service men and women who have to protect the dignitaries here, but with all those crackers going off and rockets and so on, and all the athletes now so close, but everyone seems to be calm as they should be. They've been that sort of games.
Well, I saw the Queen first do this in Christchurch in 1974 in a similar situation with the Duke of Edinburgh, and they actually sent the car around again. Now that there is absolutely no problem here. That's so good-natured. They'll make room for them. They'll go around very, very slowly. And that was as good a closer to a closing ceremony I have ever seen.
The Queen and Prince Philip have only made about 100 yards, I suppose. They've got to make their way through, wind their way through these athletes and the rest of the people who are out in the centre of the stadium here.
You're going back a few years, Ray. We went metric in the Commonwealth Games in 1970. So I'll give it to you again. Well, 100 metres.
About 100 metres, there you go. 110 yards. We hope you're enjoying this tonight. It's certainly, we're enjoying it here. It's such a colourful display. 400 shells there were. There you go. There's Lisa Curry and some of those Australian medal winners. 400 shells they had in that pyrotechnics or fireworks display here tonight. Great shot of Mount Smart Stadium with several thousand people, and there in the middle of the top right-hand side of your screen is the Queen and Prince Philip.
Well, I mean, you look around the grandstand here, and we're right in the middle of a big grandstand. You can't see anybody who hasn't got a smile on their face. Including Ray Martin.
Oh, absolutely. Dame Kiri, I've smiled at her any day of the week. Certainly, we said it, there wouldn't be a dry eye in the house when Dame Kiri sang tonight, and I think shots of her there, she's crying as well, the tears going down her cheeks. Lisa Curry, can you hear us there?
Yes, I can. This is great. This is what it's all about. This is the end of the Commonwealth Games. It seems so short. This is the time when it started. Now it's all over. It's actually quite sad.
It is quite sad, but it's been a wonderful 2 weeks, hasn't it? I think Lisa might have gone out of range for us again. It's almost as tough making contact with Lisa out there in the middle as it was winning the 50-metre sprint there, Norman.
Yes, well, the Royal Progress isn't so bad. They're getting across right opposite us now. They've only got about more than 120 metres to go, and they veer outside the stadium.
Now, when have you seen the Queen looking that happy in recent times?
Oh, radiant.
It's a great time, isn't it?
And Prince Philip, you know, is retiring now as the president of the association, the federation, and superseded by Prince Edward, and he's had a long reign, 35 years in that regard, and it's nice to see him. I suppose everybody's entitled to superannuation sometime or other in their life, and he's had a wonderful career as far as that is concerned by keeping these Commonwealth Games going. And after you've been here for 11 days, you couldn't imagine it being any more successful, could you?
You can't imagine. This is the moment indeed as the band sings along. This is the moment. The birds, the white doves or seagulls, I think they were actually, that in the opening ceremony you can see alongside the royal party now. They've rounded out the 10 or 11 days of these 10 days of competition of these Commonwealth Games. They were here on the first night, and they're here to say farewell to all the athletes and all the viewers around the world as well. Canadian flags and Australian flags. There's the New Zealand Prime Minister and the Minister for Sport here. They have every reason to be proud, Norman. They've the potential for disaster, technically and otherwise, in a Commonwealth game, something as big as this with 55 nations was enormous. But the Kiwis have pulled it off to enormous credit to themselves.
Everything went right. We had our fingers crossed about the opening ceremony. That would have been absolutely ruined if it rained.
Bob Hawke,
exactly too. And
Mrs. Hawke.
Yes, the weather was so important to their effort. Even tonight, the weather was so important. We did have rain here for a couple of days, and still the Royal Vehicle has about, I'd say, 30 or 40 metres to go. This is the moment, and it is a great moment in the history of the Commonwealth Games. I can remember years ago, 1966, they said it might be the last time they've ever held. Well, they've come back bigger and better, haven't they?
That's a wonderful shot and a wonderful moment. Right, as the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh try and make their way out of the stadium here. Let's take a break and we'll come back live from Auckland in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the closing ceremony.
All the drama.
Well done, Australia.
And there's the boxing kangaroo. Not surprising, Australia have just competed. That Hayley Lewis, I can see they're just, I think it is. Hayley's there, just into the left there, facing us now. That's her, isn't it? No, it's not. No. I just thought it was the black hair. Anyway, Australia has
one of our sprinters.
The best ever games for Australia in many respects and by a long way. We finished with 52 gold medals, 54 silver, 56 bronze. A total of 162 medals, which is a record for any country. 52 gold medals equals the previous record set by England in 1986, but it must be remembered in 1986 there was a major boycott by 33 countries, so only 26 countries competed. So Australia has the best ever, record-breaking performance, wonderful effort by the team, and what an occasion to finish the game.
It is quite marvellous. Okay, we've got Max and we've got Mark down on the fence. I'm surprised you haven't jumped over the fence and joined them, fellas.
Well, it is unbelievable down here, Ray and Nugget. Honestly, the athletes deserve a party. I believe they're going to have one shortly. They've made arrangements to be picked up here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one hell of a bash too, Max, but this is, I think, the best part of the games, and you see athletes from all different parts of the world, different parts of the Commonwealth, arm in arm celebrating. This is what it's all about, the friendly games.
And there's so many of them here. I mean, some have won, some haven't. In many ways, it's a marvellous moment. In others, it'll be sad. The friendships that have been welded during this past 10 days or so really have been incredible. And just to stand down here and feel the vibrations, the noise, the colour, the sound, the jets overhead, see the Queen go by, honestly, as Bill Laurie would say, it really is all happy.
Yes, indeed. It's interesting, Norman, and fellows down the fence there, that we've got about 300 athletes who performed at these games, but each time we look at the cameras and look there, we see Australian T-shirts or Australian sweatshirts or Australian Guernseys. I think there must be a lot of swapping of Guernseys and T-shirts going on.
Yes, well, it's new games for me. Keep going, Max.
I think that the Australian outfit is very becoming. I think the designers have done a fantastic job, and it seems to me that with all the gold medals and that have been won by Australia, 52, that seems to be the souvenir to take home. I think from here on in, athletes, officials and just spectators will be looking for that something extra. I know there's a big exchange of little pins going on, but honestly you don't know who's from which country at the moment. There is just tracksuit tops from everywhere.
Yeah, and I think the Australian outfit is one of the, of course, one of the collector's items from these games, the 1990 games. And are the Canadians going to have to put a big effort in 1994 to make up for the tremendous hosting job that the Kiwis have done here?
I'm sure they will. The Canadians, we understand, are quite disappointed with their tally of 35 gold medals, and we know that, there you go, 3 hits. I think that's an effort by the organisers to try and clear the stadium here tonight, because the ceremony's supposed to be over, but no one wants to go home. I mentioned the Canadians, we can depend on them doing a fabulous job at this next Commonwealth Games.
Interesting you mentioned the 35 gold medals won by Canada, because on every occasion the games have been held in the Southern Hemisphere, the Australians have won them in terms of gold medals, and the only time the Australians have been successful in the Northern Hemisphere was in Edinburgh in 1970. So now it means that Australia have won the gold medal count. I emphasise gold medal count only, 7 times. England have won 6, and Canada once. Now, Canada's once was in Edmonton, where we met for the first time as Commonwealth Games reporters, Ray, in 1978.
We did indeed. I think this outdoes those Edmonton games, I have to say, just in terms of the spirit and enjoyment. Norman, part of it again, people sitting at home and watching this, we hope you're enjoying the coverage tonight, enjoyed the games. About 200 people on the Nine Network who've come across here to cover these. You see the ugly mugs of people like me and Norman around the place, but behind the scenes there are lots of heroes and heroines who put this together for you, producers and cameramen and camera women and sound people and engineers and technicians and producers. It's a great credit to them, Norman. You've done 7 or 8 of these, but they are really quite superb.
Yes, a new games for me. For the first time ever, I've worked fully with a commercial network. The very early games we did on the Olympic Games, 1964, 68, 72, 76, etc., were combined deals with Australian television. There it is, once in a lifetime, Victoria 1994, that we did combine with the commercial networks and the ABC to cover these games. And now for the first time I've worked in a team, and it really has been a great operation. There is no question about that. Because remember, we assembled before the game started, and I tried to make the point that it is an operation where every person in that team is important. And Lisa Kiri, of course, she was originally considered to be a member of the team in the broadcasting century. She swam so well, she became a competitor.
Can you hear us, Lisa? We can see you, but we can't hear you.
You can hear me singing. I hope you can't hear me singing, because I can't.
We can, in fact. We want to talk about that. I thought I was bad enough in the shower, Lisa.
Sorry, what was that?
I won't repeat that. I was going to say my singing is just about as bad as that in the shower, but we can certainly see you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
She's doing well.
You had fun?
Congratulations, that's the word that they're all saying. Congratulations to everybody.
I'll just finish off saying about the Channel 9 team. It is the best team I've worked with in any games, and what has been done here has been a tremendous job technically, on the production sense, the cooperation between people, and the desire by everybody to put the games across in the proper way. I'll just leave it at that.
Yes, well, we won't pat too many of these of our colleagues on the back, although we should, but just to let you know that you don't just switch on the television and get coverage as these people have brought you this time. It really has been quite an extraordinary operation. Anyway, enough of that. We hope you've enjoyed them over the last couple of weeks, and we hope you're enjoying tonight as well. Got a Jane Fleming there, and I don't think they're going to turn them off tonight. They're going to have to turn the lights off, Norman, I think.
Yes, well, the ceremony is officially over once the royal party, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh and Prince Edward leave the venue. They've all gone, and they've announced that the opening ceremony is concluded. But I think this is sort of a postscript, and I'll keep this going, keep the music going. I don't imagine the athletes. There's Julie McDonald with Lisa. Julie McDonald, of course, gold medalist. The great race of the games I've got in swimming. Julie McDonald, Janelle Elford. Lisa, of course, a great success. These games have had many, many moments, and this is the moment. On the board, can you pronounce the French there, Ray? You're a man.
Gee, I'll pretend I can't see that far, Norman.
Une occasion unique. Is that right? You're a man from near Montreal in the old days, weren't you?
I honestly can't see that far without...
Well, it says UNE, OCCASION, unique in English. An occasion unique. Victoria, 1994. I thought I was the only commentator who couldn't see. I've been told that a few times.
You've been called by night, have you? No, well, not at all. That's a long way away.
Yes, the band will keep playing, I think, until the athletes leave, and slowly the spectators seem to be drifting away, but a lot of them are still here. But in the middle, I suppose there are still, what, 1,000, 1,500 still there?
Oh, easy, I would say. And those magic memories that we do have, but we hope that viewers in Australia have had too. The Samoan lady, remember the Samoan lady bowler who got complaints from some competitors because she enjoyed herself too much and made too much noise on the rink? She went by a little earlier here carrying the flag for Samoa. That was wonderful. The swimmer from Zimbabwe who trains with crocodiles, he said he doesn't get a good chance to train in the lake near him because he's got crocodiles across there.
He swam the same time in over 50 metres as Lisa, 26 seconds dead, and they said, well, that makes you a pretty good swimmer. And Lisa came out later and did 25.8, so he's got problems to race her.
And what about the young bloke from Swaziland, Remington, whatever his name was, who swam that breaststroke on his own? There were no other competitors, and then he turned around and swam in the 50 metres freestyle sprint. Yes, wonderful moments. The Isle of, I'm just thinking of you in the swimming, the Isle of Man relay team that was lapped in the 4x200 metres relay, and they got a bigger round of applause than even the Kiwis.
Well, they're great swimmer, Stigant. He was the flag bearer tonight, and they went in everything and had the time of their lives. You notice when you look out there, the Australians are still there. I think they're going to be last to leave.
They're probably waiting for the bus. All right, let's take a break right now. We'll come back with the finale. We've got some great pictures for you right at the end. Let's take a break, though, right now. Smart Stadium here in Auckland live. You can see it's about 20 minutes past 9 almost in Auckland, and no one wants to go home. Maybe a few from the official stand, but otherwise we haven't. And down in the centre, about 1,500 people on the fence news. I think we've got a couple of our Golden Girls, Julie McDonald and Lisa Curry.
Well, here we are down at the closing ceremony. I can tell you what, it's been one of the best closing ceremonies. It's been lots of fun. Everyone's been on the field. Julie, how do you feel?
I feel great, Lisa. It's just a great way to finish off a great week of swimming and athletics and everything, bringing home heaps of medals, and it's just a great way to finish.
Actually, we were saying earlier on what we would be feeling like now, and I guess the whole team's really happy. And Angela behind me is from Maurice. You might want to say hello. This is unbelievable. Woo! Say hello to Maurice. Hi, Maurice. And Susie over here. Susie. Hi, everyone back in Brisbane. Yay! We like to say hello to Brisbane and to Queensland and to all Australia. Thanks very much for I want to say hi very much for a great games. We've had a ball.
Hi to Darren and hi to Jay and family. Hi.
All right. Thank you, girls. It's pretty obvious that you're happy with what you've gone through tonight and what you've gone through for the last 11 days or so.
Well, I'm saying good night now, Ray. It's been wonderful to be with you. Great games. One that we'll never forget. That's all I have to say. Farewell to Auckland.
There's the top shot of Auckland. It's done themselves proud. That's it. Thank you, Norman May. Thanks for tonight and the opening and the swimming. We loved it. Thanks to the 200 or so who put the games together for us and the National 9 coverage, all our commentators. Thank you at home, especially those of you who joined us as you have the last 10 days. Good night, everybody. We'll see you, I guess we'll see you at midday. Bye-bye, Australia.
miles record. He's got less than 15 metres to swim. I don't know that he can do it. I don't think he's going to make it. Or is he? Or is he? Just outside. What a swim. McDonald's got the lead. McDonald's in front by an arm's length. Elford's coming again. Elford's coming back. Elford, McDonald, Elford. McDonald, another gold is coming home, Australia. Is it another record? 4:44.26 we're looking for. Oh, done it. She's smashed it. Good on you, Haley. Lewis has got a big lead. She's going to win gold. McMahon might run second, but in goes Haley. 3 gold medals. 3 for Haley. She's getting very tired. Morris is coming at her. They've got 10 to go. Giant stroke by Morris. Lewis in front. She's going to do it. She's done it.
Memories. This will stick in my mind forever.
Everyone did their best and it's just thrilling. It's a great feeling.
There was some unexpected wins and it was just incredible.
I was proud to represent my country and a lot of satisfaction for all the work that I've done and everyone that's helped me.
Ronnie Laycock with 177.5. Here it goes. He's held it. 177.5. The Australian bring the feet together. We've got the line, and he's back in business. Dane is strong and hard and fast. Big jump from Fleming. Marty Vinegar is making this gold medal look a formality.